and I saw that you were on the Celebrity Apprentice this year, which I didn't watch too much of it. I follow you, so I saw some of the things you were saying in relation to your experience there. How was it?
Oh, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, big hours, but that's TV. Because there's so much filming that goes on, and you only see like this much on television. But nonetheless, it was as tough as it was, because I was going back and forward from where I live into Sydney to make sure I was with my son a lot, but also do all the hours that was required. I met so many great people. A lot of the crew I knew from years past, and so it was really nice to sort of be amongst them again, and meeting some new people and some people that I already knew that were the cast members. And I've still got some very good friendships that came out of that. Myself and Anthony Kalia, love that guy, so fun. And Camilla as well, whom I knew before going on the show.
Yeah, Camilla's cool. I know Camilla's. I knew her whole family. I certainly know her mum still. I haven't seen her for a while, but and I knew her dad. And I knew Camilla when she was a kid. I knew Camilla when she was a little girl, like when she was a bit like a teenager sort of thing. And I remember once I got her parents put on a party. I don't know, it was New Year's Eve or something like that. Anyway, it was a fancy dress. I fucking hate fancy dress. Anyway, it was a fancy dress thing, and you had to turn up. I can't remember what I turned up as. I got no idea, but I wouldn't have put too much effort into it. I was married at the time, and I remember I left all my boys at home. We were living in Vaucluse at the time in a house, and I left all my boys at home in the care of a nanny we hired for the night. We had a 2-story house, and all the boys used to live upstairs. Lived in one huge room upstairs. That was their bedroom, I should say. Anyway, around about quarter to 12 at night, just before, it was New Year's Eve. So it was just before the New Year's Eve, everyone jumps around and carries on. I get a phone call from the nanny, and she says, you better come home straight away. And I said, why? And I was only like 5 minutes away. And she said, because I'm leaving. And I said, you're booked till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. She said, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And I got home, and as I got there, I said to her, what's the problem? She was sitting in the lounge room, which is on the ground floor, directly below the boys' bedroom, which is on the floor above her. And they got one of the mattresses, the single mattresses, and they put it out over the balcony, and they threw it over the balcony, and it crashed right next to where she was sitting. And she got such a fright. She said, I'm fucking out of here. So I'll never forget that. My 4 sons, one of them had his own bedroom. The other 3, the younger ones, had all one room, and they were as wild as you could imagine.
Oh, boys, my God.
Yeah, it was a shocker. I'll never forget that day. And I was at Camilla's parents' place, and Camilla was there. And at the time, she was going out with some guy who played rugby for East at the time. And, I remember she was always a talented young girl. She's fantastic.
Good fun. And it was, it was a bit of a pressure cooker, as you would know. It's a pressure cooker situation. Like it's designed to trip you up. They design it so that there's too many balls in the air, and there's a lot of little idiosyncrasies and nuances that you might miss in the dossier, which is like this thick, to tell you what's going on, even though you don't really know what's going on. And then you're working with a bunch of people you've never worked with before, and everybody's a visionary, and everybody's a business owner, and everybody's an entrepreneur, and everybody's got the big ideas, and you put them all together in a pressure cooker situation, and it's woo.
Is there one thing you learn about yourself?
Definitely. I came out of that. I gave myself a pat on the back. I was burning dirty that I got booted off, but I realized that there's a little bit of gameplay and a little bit of, snuggling up to people and making some.
It's television.
It's television. But what I did come out of it, I thought, far out, I can handle a lot at once. And I'd never really sort of stepped back to sort of see that. Because it was just so intense, and the microscope was so sharp. Because there was this much time and that much to do, I just realized very quickly that I can do a lot in a very small amount of time and handle it. And I was pretty proud of myself for that.
Well, you're a single mum juggling a whole lot of things. I guess, someone like you, you're a business person, but you're a parent as well. And, you're maybe a sister or a daughter, or, you're definitely a friend of other people. You got other obligations and or interactions. So it doesn't surprise me that you are good at prioritizing and or surviving. That show came on at a time that show came at a time, it was filmed at a time when, that was a tough period last year, 2020. you were going through a whole lot of other shit too, like as I recall. So you were in real life actually juggling a whole lot of stuff as well as on the TV show.
Oh man, Mark, it was a 3-month military operation just to get me on set. Like what happened before that, just to get me there, is crazy because I didn't want any turmoil or upset for my son. I wanted everything for him to be like clockwork because, as you would know, consistency is king when it comes to children, habits, routines, and rituals. It's the same for business. It's the same for fitness. Definitely the same for children. So I didn't want him to have any kind of extra turmoil in his life. He had his school, he had his home, he had his habits and routines. So, here I am having to go to Sydney, 1.5 hours away from where we live, and be on a show that required big hours. So I got a lady that used to live in the same street in Potts Point. She used to babysit for me since Axel was 4 months old. She's like 69. I know she was 70 actually. And I said to her, will you come and live with me? She goes, really? And I said, yeah, have a think about it. But she said, I'll do it. So I said, well, you need to drive. I said, can you drive? And she said, I can drive, but I haven't driven for 10 years. I'm like, that's okay. We'll deal with that. So I hired her a car. I got her down. I hired her a car. I got her behind the wheel, got her confidence up, got her driving him to school because it's like a 20-minute drive on a highway and country roads. Got her doing that, like organised him with her, did all the other things that I need to organise. And then by the time it was for me to go, she was in the house and driving him to school. And she said, thank you so much. You've given me my confidence back. I never thought I would drive again. And now here I am. So, yeah, she was driving a big Toyota Kluger. And then she would come in. I'd go home and then she'd come with me into town. And we had an apartment in town and she'd stay in town with him because he was only 3 days at school at that time. So I was having more time with him. So his life stayed the same and I was in it a lot. So I didn't just disappear. So all of this had to happen for me to be on the show.